This Aussie needs a break. Hey everyone, it's Sarah, and I'm out here at Skifftown, Charlotte, Charlotte's premier dog bar and dog play group and boarding facility. And I'm here to point out a couple of different things to keep an eye out for if you bring your dog out to public places like dog parks and dog bars to play with other dogs. Some of those simple, subtle signs to look for that things are going really great and they're having the time of their lives, or maybe they're starting to get a little tired, a little overworked, and trouble could potentially be brewing. So we're going to go over a couple of key items to help you and your dog live the best life and have the best time anytime you go out in public to socialize with other people and other dogs. Now, before we get into a few of those things, we've got lots of action going on in the back. Don't forget to hit that like button and hit subscribe and ring the bell notification to receive information when more content just like this is released. Let's go check out some dogs. So when we're looking at some best practices while you're out and about at the dog park, usually these places are designed to be social for humans too. So you might meet some other dog-loving friends out here, have a beer, have a glass of wine. The most important thing to remember is that you brought a dependent with you. So don't forget to pay attention to your dog, read their signs if they're getting too tired or too weary, or maybe even getting picked on or picking on someone else a little bit. It's super important that while you're at the dog bar or dog park, you're paying close attention to your dog, even if you're there socializing with friends. They always come first. Hi.
Hi. Hi, friends. Hi, friend. Hi. Big old golden. So big old golden.
Oh, look at this bull terrier coming in here. Yeah, so one thing you'll notice is that as other dogs are coming in, there seems to be a whole lot of energy around that gate. Who's the newcomer? What's going on? What do you smell like? Let me check all of my messages. That energy can be a little bit much for newcomers in particular to be greeted with such a high arousal and energy level. So it's better to take things slowly and bring them in much more slowly. Give them some space. It's one of the very few times I would kind of intervene with dog behavior. Get a little displacement of some energy here. Again, too much energy. Hi, little Frenchie. Too much energy at the door. That's asking for trouble. And the husky in particular is letting everybody know about it.
Hi, Ansel, so cute.
She's saying I don't have a shock collar, which is really concerning. This is not a place where I would use an e-collar, ever. Hey, buddy. Oh, goodness. He's very excited to be here. So yeah, prong collars, bad idea. You want the dog park to be a lot of fun and an exciting, happy place for your dog, so don't bring aversives to the dog park. What I mean by that is don't use things that are punishment. So if you use an e-collar and you only use it for things like recall and good stuff, that's awesome, but save that for outside of the dog park. Oftentimes when people use e-collars and prong collars hanging around the necks of the dogs like necklaces, it's meant as a punishment. So it's very important that they have fun while they're here and we're not using punishments when we're at the dog park, or they could form a negative association and the dog bar isn't as much fun anymore. This right here is perfect. You see how this little hound dog's rolling over? It might be a little bit much for him, but he's swapping roles. So behind, you couldn't see a moment ago, he did a play bow and then he jumped on top of another dog. So he's reversing roles, and switching roles is really good for play. Again, in this situation, he's getting bombarded a little bit, so it's a little bit much for him, but he's still kind of having a good time, still playing. Sometimes he's up, sometimes he's down, and that's a good sign.
Hey. 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 Let you stay out of it. There you go.
This little Australian Shepherd here is in a pretty submissive role at the moment, but has been practicing a lot of avoidance. You can see here he's running off, and he's been doing that a lot, which tells me he's kind of tired of playtime. But anytime a dog is approaching him, running up on him, he's running. You can see over here, he's hiding, just trying to get away. That's a really good time to pull your dog out of play. This Aussie needs a break. This one that's coming to you for some shelter here.
Don't eat that. You can't eat that. You can't eat that.
All right, so let's talk about a few reasons why scuffles at dog parks happen. 3 main things: too much, too fast, and for too long. So you think about meeting a new person for the first time. You need a slow introduction. You don't just walk up and hug somebody new or embrace them. You need time to warm up to them as well. So that's a little bit too much, too fast for the most part. Dogs are the same way with their energy. Their arousal gets too high and they can't control all of that, and there has to be an outlet for that. So in talking about too long, how long is too long? Well, you want to, when you first introduce your dog to dog parks or dog bars, do it in short spurts. 10, 15, 20 minutes at a time, not a full hour, 2 hours. It's simply too long. They get tired, they get cranky, the energy gets off, and then scuffles start to happen because of that. And also too fast, too much movement too fast. So as these dogs are coming together with all these different energy levels, and they don't have the ability to get away and get their own space, kind of like you saw with that little Australian Shepherd earlier, they really need that ability to have that time out when they need that time out. So if you push them into it too fast and it's just too much because the other dogs aren't reading their communication signals well, that's where you can start to see trouble. Now you notice that guy just picked his dog up. You should let that dog get on the table and get away from these other dogs. This dog's trying so hard to practice avoidance, and by removing him from that safe space, that makes it really scary for the dog. You should let him get up there and get away from all these others. So one of the things you hear is a lot of barking, a lot of vocalization, and people always wonder, is that okay? Is that normal? Dogs communicate by vocalizing, and that's totally fine. Let them have fun, let them tell you all about it. As long as it's not excessive to where it's overworking the energy in the group of animals, it's totally normal. So another good practice, if your dog's not familiar with the dog park, and even if they are, there's always new dogs out and about, is to work around the perimeter. So instead of showing up, getting your dog out of the car in the parking lot and going right into the dog bar, let them get accustomed to their surroundings first. So if there's a grassy area, kind of like there is here at Skip Town, outside where you can work them on leash, go ahead and do that first and let them get used to that environment prior to throwing them in with all this energy and all this mix of all these new friends that they're supposed to meet. The other thing that I want to mention too is you'll notice all of these dogs out here are off leash. The majority of the time, dog bars and dog parks don't allow leashes because you can introduce reactivity where otherwise you might not. So if a dog is on leash when introduced to others and is fine off leash but not on, you could have a fight ensue. So as much as I love to give dogs their own space via leash, oftentimes you won't see that as a common practice in a dog bar. But still give them that space, still give them that time to get used to the surroundings before throwing them right in by working outside around the perimeter first. The majority of the time while your dog is interacting at the dog park, most of the dogs here are pretty well behaved. They do screen them and they keep an eye on behavior. So if they're barking and rolling and tumbling and growling, I typically recommend not getting involved with them or their behavior unless it gets really serious. But even if they're rolling back and forth and tumbling and making a whole lot of noise, generally dogs will work things out themselves. So err on the side of caution, let them do their dog thing, and only intervene when there's a serious miscommunication happening. This little guy's separated himself from the pack. He's decided he needs his own timeout, which is great. This dog knows when he's done and separates himself from the pack. Anyway, I hope you have found some value in this video, and if you're thinking about taking your dog out to a dog bar or dog park, this can hopefully help you integrate your dog in a safe and comfortable way for them so that they have a great time while playing and visiting. Remember, the 3 biggest mistakes I see made is too much, too fast, and for too long. So short spurts of positive play and let them get introduced in a way that's comfortable for them. Keep an eye on your dog, don't overly socialize with people to where you forget about them, and overall, just have some fun and try out some new places. Right? Okay. Don't forget to like this video if you like it. Please hit subscribe and ring that bell to receive notification when more helpful videos to build the bond between you and your dog are released just like this. Nice waggy. That's waggy. Hi, friend.